This summer, I had the privilege of going to the National Museum of Cambridge Glass in Cambridge, Ohio, for a day trip with my grandparents, my mom, and my brother. You can see here is a picture of the Big X pitcher, which was the first piece of glass ever made by Cambridge in 1902. They have it on display, and it is the original one. It is really cool to see. And I must say, something that was absolutely amazing about this museum is the effort that was put into not only looking at a collection of the glass pieces, but also how glass is made. You can see here they have real equipment, real molds, and these mannequins are demonstrating the whole process. Those bricks are actually from the original Cambridge factory, and they had them installed to make a furnace, or a fake furnace for the demonstration. So you walk into the museum, admission was $6 per person, and you got a tour, an informational video, and one of the wonderful, wonderful ladies gave us a presentation about how Cambridge glass was etched, about different types of glass that they made. You can see here is the etching process in the different stages of it. A lot of times women would do this, and they would take the paper and they'd put it over a finished piece of glassware fresh out of the mold, and they would paint on beeswax and then dip it into a type of acid in order to create the really fine, elaborate etchings that Cambridge was very famous for. Here is an example of a mannequin sitting at a wheel cutter machine, which was used for hand engraving any designs into some of the glassware pieces, which Cambridge was also well known for. And you can see here, these are the print plates. So this is how you would get those elaborate, beautiful etchings onto the pieces of glassware. And the museum actually has an activity where you can create a tracing of this. They have paper, you can put it on top and you can rub it with a pencil and take home a very own copy of it. This room, again, had more elaborate examples of the process to make a finished piece. On the left there, you can see what the cups look like fresh out of the mold, and you can see on the left of this picture as well, they have that dome on the top, so they didn't come out of the mold with just a finished edge. That was they had to cut off that top piece there, which I thought was fascinating, and I didn't know that. Here are some of the examples of colors used. As you know, glass colors are produced from using different elements off the periodic table, and they have those in little jars here to explain that these are the ingredients that go into glass. And I did find this online. It is a cool little chart showing the different elements that create different colors. So you can see on the bottom, uranium makes that beautiful lime green, neodymium makes the alexandrite that color shifts, and honestly, this museum was such a wonderful experience. You can see here, there's their famous keyhole design for their candle holders and variety glass. So they didn't just make fancy dinnerware, they also made things that were useful for science and for other things like that. And you can see doorknobs here. I didn't know that glass doorknobs were a thing, let alone something made by a manufacturer like this, but those were really cool to see. And like I said, the staff were amazing. They're so knowledgeable, and the ladies were so nice. They let me just walk around and take videos of everything. This museum is set up in sequential order, so it starts at the beginning, and Cambridge did start by making variety glass, or glass that was useful and functional for things other than eating off of, and over time it progressed into making more and more things, and you can see that as you're moving through the museum. You can see here more of those dumbbell knife rests, as I like to call them. They had napkin rings and other fun things to decorate your table with. Here's some more pictures of beakers and scientific glass, stuff that would be used, and you can see canes there at the bottom too. Look at that beautiful punch bowl there in the center. I love going to glass museums because this is stuff that at least I've only ever seen at the Carlisle Glass Show, and also maybe some of the more expensive antique shows or antique stores. This is stuff you don't just get to see every day. This is stuff that's been preserved from the early 1900s. It's been loved and cherished, and this was one of my favorite pieces, that pattern up there with the gold and the ruby inlay into the pattern. And more of these punch bowls. I think we need to bring punch bowls back. I know that they're a big piece of glass that take up a lot of space in your house, and you probably only use it once a year, if that, but they're just stunning. I love my punch bowl, and I think that it's something that needs to come back into fashion for sure. I was absolutely impressed with some of the carnival glass colors. I've never seen them in this many varieties, so vibrant. You can see the ruby cut to clear, the craftsmanship, the glass sparkles so much. This was my favorite. Look at that strawberry pattern. I have never seen something like that. And here's black. Black glass is something that came a little bit later on, as glassmakers had to figure out how to get it to be opaque and have that really dark, rich color, and the gold painting on top stands out so beautifully. You can see the hand-painted flowers on these pieces and the vase. I went really slow through this part here because I really enjoyed getting to analyze everything. The presentation that I was given at the beginning was very informative. I learned a lot about the Cambridge logo. So it originally started off with the C on the bottom of the pieces, but in the 1920s, so for frame of reference, Cambridge glass isn't your super quickly, cheaply made depression glass that you'd find at the Five and Dime. It's the elegant glass that the upper class would buy to eat off of. And so in the 20s, a lot of women decided that they didn't want to see the logo on the bottom of their dishes shining through on the tablecloth because they wanted a completely pristine surface. And so Cambridge listened to their audience, and in the 20s they did remove the C from the bottom. I know Cambridge glass today is definitely one of the nicer brands, so to speak, to collect. It is a little bit more pricey, but the pieces are stunning. A lot of them have those really intricate, beautiful, etched on designs. I am obsessed with all these bright colors. Look at the tally-ho line. The reds, the greens, the blues, and there's this coffee strainer, or is it a tea strainer in that picture? If somebody could tell me in the comments, that would be wonderful. This color is called light emerald, and look at this turtle right there at the bottom of the screen. I absolutely love the figural pieces, the ones that look like animals, the candy dishes, and the vases. And here we have a flower frog. I really want to get one of these. I do love fresh flowers, and I feel like it would make arranging them to be really fun and help fan out the blooms to fill up the vase more. Yeah, I come across these so often in every kind of material. There's glass ones, pottery, ceramic ones. These pieces, I know I keep saying that all these pieces are my favorite, but these might actually be my favorite. Look at the red to blue gradient, and then there's the mulberry, more of the light emerald there. Here's a close-up shot of those gradient pieces. Imagine the craftsmanship, the skills that those workers had to have in order to create glass that looks like that. Imagine having a whole table set with that. I think it would be the most beautiful table ever. And this yellow platter in the middle, imagine it in front of a window where it could catch the sunlight. And someday when I grow up and have my own house, I hope I have a lot of windows. And I was thinking about maybe I can DIY some shelves to put in front of them so that my colored glassware can really shine. There's some watermelon glass there on that middle shelf. And here's a really beautiful, elegant light yellow. It looks like it's called gold crystal. And then there's willow blue, or also called Eleanor blue. How beautiful is that? Coming over to here, someone donated their entire collection of what I'm assuming to be sherry or cordial glasses. They exist in every color, every shape, every design. That's a wonderful thing about museums like this. There are some people that are so passionate about their collections and they donate it to museums so that they can be displayed and appreciated by people that take special interest in these things. This amber display is so beautiful. I love the deep tones that range from brown to a honey gold color. Working our way over here, it looks like we have perfume bottles. That piece right there is really interesting on that top shelf because it is a perfume tester, and you're going to see a close-up shot of it really soon. Here it is. It's a perfume tester, so instead of going to Macy's and using an actual bottle to test out the perfume, a perfume company would put all of their samples in there, and you would dab it on your wrist and see if you liked it and wanted to buy it. Here's Peach Blow. I know that Peach Blow is typically more of an opaque color from my understanding. That is more of an orange to red fade, but this warm pink was stunning, and you can see a lot of unique pieces here, stuff that you're not really going to come by in your antique store unless you're particularly blessed that day. Here's a 1921 catalog. I love looking at glass catalogs. I actually own one from the Duncan Miller Glass Museum, and I look through it to see what pieces they sold in the I think it was a 1928 catalog. And 1920s marked aviation, more machines, urbanization, topics such as that. And you can see that reflected here in these decanters for shot glasses. There's an actual airplane there, and I can't imagine how much this piece is worth. It was breathtaking to look at, and it was so fascinating. Imagine hosting a party and having your liquor in something like that, and people can enjoy it. And these Tom Collins glasses are really sleek, really elegant. I enjoy collecting different kinds of barware. Part of the decoration in my room on my dresser is actually I have one glass of each type. So I have a Tom Collins glass, I have a red wine glass, a white wine glass, and honestly I just drink chocolate milk out of them, but I love how sparkly they are and how they catch the sunlight. And so here I'm just working my way around the museum, trying to take in as much of it as I can. Like I said, the tour that we were given was fabulous. The ladies there know their stuff. They can answer just about every question. They know the inspiration behind the different patterns, the different designs, the different colors even. I totally recommend going to visit this museum and to pick their brains a little bit. So here is an example of an element from the periodic table used to color. That was selenium, and it created that amber color. It can also be used to create yellow. And here is heather bloom. I thought this was stunning. Look at that beautiful light purple. I wonder if this changes color in the sunlight like Heisey's Alexandrite does. I will have to follow up and confirm on that if it does. Those are some of my favorite pieces, the ones that change color. Now, this section of the museum was really beautiful. You can see that opaque blue, some of those sparkly crystal pieces, more of the heather bloom, and those stunning candelabras in the back with the keyhole design that Cambridge is particularly famous for. And here's some more figural pieces, looks like paperweights. The ladies at the museum also set up a Christmas display. This is called the Christmas Brunch with Cambridge Glass. That there in the middle is a powdered sugar shaker. Those are so hard to come by. Here's a closer shot of it. We have a candy dish, a powder jar, and a powdered sugar shaker. It looks like they're uranium glass too. And here's another shot of the Christmas brunch. I personally absolutely love tablescaping, and you can see some other videos about some of the tables that I set up for different holidays on my YouTube channel. This piece here is really special because Cambridge Glass actually bought all the workers tickets to go see the circus when it came to town, and the men were particularly taken aback by the woman on the trapeze. So some of them came back and actually designed that shell design with the woman on the front of it to honor their experience at the circus. This section of the museum was particularly fascinating. These are screenshots from TV shows and movies of where you can see a piece of Cambridge glass used on the set. So if any of you out there in the audience have come across an example where you know that a piece of glass has been used in a movie like this, you can actually email them and they might add it to the display here. Here's on Elvis Presley's plane. It looks like a Scotch decanter. Hawaii 5-0 used a funnel. That's more of that functional glass. White Christmas. I was stood in front of this cabinet for a very long time, looking through all of the different movies where a piece of glassware was featured honestly, I thought this was such a creative display and such a unique take to make museum visitors interested in these different items. And you can see what was popular in Hollywood too, with the way that scene directors would use pieces of glass to help add to the effect of a scene. You can see some really beautiful figural women. There were candlesticks. It looks like there is compotes, really beautiful gold etching on those plates. This is such a nice light peach pinky color, and I feel like the gold complements it so well. Up there you see the fish. I feel like I've seen those fish with the swirly tail quite often, and this pattern here is what I see most often when I come across Cambridge glass at thrift stores and at antique stores, is this moonlight. It is so pretty, that ice blue, and I can see it comes in other colors too. There's some yellow, some pink, some amber, and a little bit of green. But this here, I would have to say, is probably their most popular pattern and what they are most well known for, at least from my perspective as a consumer in the glass industry. Here's a close-up shot of some of their other colors. I particularly like the mulberry color. I feel like purple glass is so rare. Here's a really unique display that was probably used to sell Cambridge glass, because you can see the lampshades there that say Cambridge Caprice. There were a few instances of the museum having the original advertising materials that would be, for instance, in a Macy's where someone could go and buy glass. I'm not entirely sure what kind of store would sell Cambridge glass. I know that this is higher end, elegant glass. You can see on the bottom left there is another display. I thought this was really unique. 101 ways to give your table a new look. So there's some of that old advertising. They had these ensembles where you can change out the color or the shape, and they were these little inserts that you would put into a central console to get 101 ways. And then here's table architecture. To me, this looks very 1920s, very Egyptian and Greek revival. I really liked these pieces, and I absolutely love seeing the original advertising materials. You can see the slogans and the effort and the hand drawings, and here's some examples of those pieces that you can mix and match to make new ensembles. Here's more of their amethyst color. Again, purple glass. I feel like I don't see it that often. I don't know if it's not popular or if there's a huge, like, people just collect it, but whenever I see a whole lot of it in one place, I do get really excited. Here are some more unique pieces. You can see the red with black decals on it, different figures. This cabinet was particularly pretty. I love the clear candlesticks with the red accents, and red and gold just goes together so beautifully. Very beautiful for Christmas, Valentine's Day, New Year's, anything you can imagine. Here is another collection of stemware with the nude woman as the stem. Here's a close-up. Trader Vic's. That has the story behind the design inspiration behind using a woman's nude figure as the stem of the stemware. Here's another close-up shot of the trapeze woman on, looks like a shell bowl. There was a display to educate people about how to spot fakes or how to spot pieces that were not originally Cambridge. Here's a whole cabinet full of that. You can see the pieces that look very similar, but some of them are Cambridge, some of them are Mosser, there's Imperial, but they all look very similar. So when you are collecting, for instance, Cambridge glass, you want to be on the lookout. Sometimes you have to check the dimensions, the shade of the color. You have to look for mold lines. Things like that can be really helpful when you're a serious collector. And look at this. This is a 1920s speakeasy with Cambridge glass on the counter. I thought it was so cool that they created a period accurate representation of what it would look like. And here is a cabinet with all of the colors that they made. So I wanted to thank you guys for joining me on this adventure to go to the Cambridge Glass Museum. Like I said so many times before, this was such an amazing experience. The ladies that work there are passionate about what they do. They are so friendly and willing to answer questions and help you out, and they do have a little gift shop for those Cambridge collectors that are looking to get glass directly from the source. I highly recommend stopping by and checking it out. This cabinet was so nice. It shows how some of the pieces can be used. So they have faux food, like that fig cake there, where there's a banana split in a banana split dish. And really it can just give you ideas for what you want to serve at your holiday parties or how you want to use your glassware. And they have all the elements that are on the periodic table that were used in the glass. There's a lobster plate. I didn't know lobster plates were a thing. So like I said, such an educational experience. If you are privileged and blessed enough to be able to go and visit this museum, I highly recommend it. Yeah, so thank you guys for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give me any feedback or comments below in the comment section. I would love to read and respond. Thank you guys. Bye-bye.